before we start, just the usual spiel. So who are we? Rand Swiss. We are a securities broker. We can assist you with local accounts, offshore accounts. We can assist you with offshore payments, RAs, living annuities, structured products, all those kind of things. These are all of the awards we've received since 2019. As you can see, 2019 and then again last year, 2021, we were rated South Africa's best stockbroker. 2020, we came second with Standard Bank, Standard OST, they came first. And I mean, pretty much since 2018, it's been this competition between us and Standard Bank, who's first. So 2018, they came first. We came second. 2019, it switched. We first, they second. 2020 switched back, and 2021 we switched back again. So yeah, we really, it's a big competition between Rand Swiss and Standard OST to see who can be the best stockbroker. But then in 2019, we also received the Top Advice Stockbroker Award. And then 2019, 2021, we got the People's Choice Award. So basically, I mean, with these awards, it's always client's voice counts a lot, including top stockbroker, top advice broker. But I think with People's Choice Award, already trying to say, with these awards, Intellidex, the people who do these awards, they kind of look at other metrics as well. So they listen to what the clients say, and then they do their own little research, and then they put it all together to give you these awards. But with People's Choice Award, it's basically just the clients. What did the clients say? And in 2019 and 2021, we got the People's Choice Award. So our clients are really happy with the service we give them. Then 2020, we might not have gotten the award for the best stockbroker, but we did get the award for the best online broker. And then 2 years in a row, we've also gotten the award for the best tax-free savings account. Okay, then what do? Like I mentioned, we do a lot of things. We give you offshore accounts, local accounts, offshore payments, RAs, all those kind of things. But there's a different levels of service depending on what you're looking for. With online trading, you just want the platform. That's it. You just want the platform. You'll manage the account yourself. That's online trading for you. Private broking, very similar. You manage the account yourself, but you would like to have some advice. You would like to speak to someone. You'd like to get some research, all those kind of things. That's private broking. Managed portfolio, you as a client, you're pretty much hands off. You're just saying, guys, here's the money. Please manage it for me. Structured products, they're very good products. We actually have one available from Investing at the moment, but I think it's closing this Friday. But basically, structured products, they kind of, it depends on your needs, like your risk, what kind of risk you're willing to take. Sometimes the markets are too risky for someone and say, no, look, it's too risky. I want to have exposure to the market, but I want some of the risk to be taken away. So a structured product does exactly that. A structured product, for instance, is an investment, let's say, on the S&P 500. And it will give you a specific return on the S&P 500. So it will tell you, okay, this is an investment for 5 years. If the S&P 500 is positive after 5 years, it doesn't matter how much. If it's just positive by 1%, we will give you 20, 30, 40%. We will also give you capital protection of, let's say, 30%. So if the S&P 500 is negative after 5 years, but it's negative by less than 30%, we give you 100% of your capital back. So it tells you exactly what kind of growth you can expect in a positive market, and it protects you in a negative market. So those are what structured products are. Offshore payments, exactly what it says. If you would like to, do a currency conversion, so let's say you want to use your annual allowance, all South Africans can do 1 million rand offshore transfers a year. If you want to do more, you can get a tax clearance certificate, but you get 1 million rand a year, which you can send out of the country. We can assist you with that. So if you want to convert your rands to dollars, pounds, euros, Australian dollars, whatever, we can do that for you, and we can make the payment to an offshore bank account. Or if you have an offshore stockbroking account with us, we can pay it to that account, and so on. So that's offshore transfers. Very simple. Wealth management, RAs, living annuities, life insurance, those kind of things. or if you want to have a financial advisor, the guy sits down with you, he has a discussion with you, takes into account your age, your risk profile, all those kind of things, and they come up with an investment plan. Tax-free savings account, 36,000 Rand a year. You as a South African can put it into a tax-free savings account, and you can invest it into an ETF. Any growth you have on it, tax-free. So you can imagine if you put 36,000 into the tax-free savings account every year, I think it's for more than 10 years you can do this, and you leave this for 20, 30 years, you can get a lot of growth on that. And one day when you sell those shares, you don't have to pay 1 cent in capital growth taxes. So they're very powerful tools. If you don't have a tax-free savings account, I highly recommend them. And then, yeah, these are just some of our partners, media and providers. So Velocity Trade, we're going to have a look at that platform today. Saxo Capital Markets, locally in South Africa, they operate under the name DMA. But if you open an offshore account with us, you will most likely get a DMA account. Another offshore provider we use is Swiss Quote. Then media partner, Gary, Viv especially, you'll see hear them on 702, you'll see them on CNBC, Business Day TV, ETV, SABC, and so on. But okay. So, disclaimer. As I look at these charts, I am going to give you my opinion. I'm going to say, well, okay, this is what I'm seeing. This is what it looks like. This looks like to be a long trade, short trade, or whatever. These are not recommendations, though. When I say, oh, this looks like a long trade, I'm by no means telling you, please go open a long trade, go buy the stock, or go short this one. It is just my opinion, okay? So there's my opinion. Take my opinion into account if you want. Go do some of your own analysis, listen to someone else, and then put it all together and decide, okay, if you agree or disagree. But please trade using your own discretion. This is by no means me telling, oh, you definitely should go buy this, or you definitely should go short this. But okay, let's analyze your trades. Again, if there are any specific stocks you would like to have a look at, stocks, forex, commodities, whatever, please put it in the chat. And like I said, I'll do my best to get to all of your trades. As usual, I will start us off. Let me just quickly switch here. Okay, so this is the Velocity Trader platform. As always, we'll start with the USDZAR. It's a very popular trading tool, not just in South Africa, and all over the world. Traders love the Rand dollar or dollar Rand contracts just because they are just so volatile. It's always something happening. It's a really good instrument to trade. But at the moment, as you can see, we've had some really, really good Rand strength. A lot of that is because commodities have been doing well. I mean, since the Russian-Ukraine war started, commodities have been doing pretty well. They've been going up. I mean, and this was already going into an environment where we already had shortages before the war started. There were all these shortages, commodity prices, yes, volatile, going up and down, but for the most part, they've been doing really well over the past year or two because of all the shortages. South Africa, of course, we're a commodities-based economy. So when commodities do well, the Rand tends to do well. And this is exactly what we've been seeing since the Russia-Ukraine conflict started. The Rand has really been outperforming, especially for emerging market currency. And we are currently down to below 1450. So really strong. So basically this was, let me just put this here. This was the level 15, or let's rather use this. Right there, as you can see, this is an area of support and resistance. The Rand broke through, support fell out, and then the Rand continued to support, strengthen. So where is the next level? So if I give a quick look here, the next level seems to be about there. There's one level there from 1440 to 1430. And then there's another level right here. 1420 to 1410. So it's currently back at support, like it was there. It was at support, broke, fell. Now we're back at support. So this could possibly, if the support holds, this could possibly be a chance to open a long trade on USDZAR. Now, of course, there's always some confusion when I say, oh, a long trade on USDZAR, a short trade, because when you're trading currency, you're going long the one and short the other. So if I say, for instance, go long USDZAR, basically I'm saying go long USD, go short ZAR, because the dollar will strengthen and the rand will weaken. But it's much simpler for me to just say go long USDZAR. So when I say go long USDZAR, I mean go long this currency pair. So when I say go long USDZAR, I'm basically saying go long USD, go short ZAR. If I say go short USDZAR, I'm saying go short dollar, go long rand. But I'm talking about the currency pair. So I'm just saying go long, go short. I'm not saying go long this one, short that one. When I'm talking about the currency pair. So this could possibly be a good spot to start going long USDZAR. The currency pair is right at support at the moment. And then this one, there's a very thin, if it breaks down, there's a very thin range right here from 1440 to 1410. It's not as wide as this range from 15 all the way to 1440. But we can put on some more indicators. A favorite right there. Sorry to put it on now. There we go. Okay, so what's the MACD telling us? For those who don't know, the MACD, moving average convergence divergence, this indicator is basically a trend indicator. So it's kind of telling you what's the trend. Downward line means bearish trend, upwards, bullish trend, and of course you have to take into account where it is. If it's above zero, that's bullish. Below zero, that's bearish. At the moment, the rand is looking bearish still. Line is trending down. And we are below zero at the moment, not really seeing any divergences. For those who don't know, let's see if we can quickly find you a divergence. So there, this spot right here. Put an arrow, just make it a little more. So for this period right here, the USDZAR was flat, but yet over the same period, what did we see happen on the MACD? It was trending down. So that is what's called a divergence. In this case, it would be a bearish divergence. And what these divergences tell you is, hey, keep an eye on the stock. We might see a change in trend. And what happened? That's exactly what happened. The rand weakened, yes, small recovery, but weakened, small recovery, weakened, small recovery, and then weakened. So this was a very good indicator for you to start considering opening a short trade on the USDZAR. As always, I'm telling you, these divergences, they're not always 100% correct. Don't just think by default, oh, there's divergence, I should do this, I should do that. But they tend to be very good. Not always 100% of the time, but they are usually a good indicator, oh, that the trend might change. But going back to where we are now, I'm not seeing any divergences at the moment. So from the MACD point of view, USDZAR is looking very bearish. It is looking as if it might, in fact, break support and test the next one. Let's take another one. So last time we had people really want to have a look at the relative strength index. So what's the relative strength index? You have your midpoint here at 50, above 50 bullish, below 50 bearish. But below 30 oversold above 70, overbought. So that's, you can almost kind of look at it the same as a bearish divergence or as a divergence on the MACD. Once it goes above 70, it's saying, oh, it's overbought. People are going to start taking profits. You can see a change in trend. Same here. If it's oversold, it's looking super cheap. You might, in fact, see a lot of people beginning to buy, change of trend. But at the moment, again, the USDZAR is looking very bearish. It's not oversold. You can sometimes also get divergences. Again, like exactly here, there was a divergence. Let's put that arrow back. It was pretty much flat. But on the RSI, again, divergence. But looking at where we are at the moment, no divergence. So the RSI again is telling us bearish. It's giving us a bearish reading. So add that to the MACD. You might in fact see the rand continue to strengthen to below. Well, I mean, it might go to 1430. If it breaks below that, the next level you're looking at is 1420 to 1410. Okay, that's the rand. Let's look just quickly at another one. The oil, Brent. I've been having a very good time of it. Again, the Russia-Ukraine conflict, oil spiked. Again, because of this environment, we already had the shortages going into this war. The war just exacerbated it. Taking into account that Russia is one of the world's biggest oil producers, the sanctions came into power, and then Russian oil got taken off the market. This is an environment where we were already having oil shortages, so that also made oil spike. But one thing we can see though is there is a bit of a what is known as a triangle pattern. So I'm just going to elongate it. So that is what's known as a triangle pattern. Some people might say triangle patterns are bearish, some might say bullish. In my experience, it can be both. You just kind of need to keep an eye on which one of these lines break first. If the resistance line breaks, that will be bullish. You can consider going long Brent. If the support line breaks, then that would be bearish, and you can consider opening a bearish trade, a short trade on Brent. What is the RSI telling us at the moment? It's bullish. I mean, slightly bullish. It's just above 50. So it's slightly bullish, but it is bullish nevertheless. Do we see any divergences? I don't see any divergence, not overbought. So it's bullish on the RSI. Put the MACD back on. MACD is looking in a sense bearish, because like I said, if the line's trending down, that's a bearish signal, but it is still above zero, so that is bullish. But no divergences, so that's not bearish, that is slightly bullish. So I would lean towards bullish on Brent. But yeah, it's giving me a bit of a mixed reading. I'd rather see it trending upwards like I was doing here, not trending downwards. Because eventually the trend is going to change. And what's going to happen is it's going to come down. It's going to be above zero naturally, but it's going to be trending down towards zero and below. So don't just think by default, just because it's zero is bullish. I mean, if it's trending down, it is in effect telling us the trend is going down. Another signal you can always look for is, well, is there a change of trend? Is what high? It didn't make a new high. The high created here is below the previous high. So that's another signal. The trend seems to be bearish. But at the moment for Brent, would I go long? Would I go short? Not so easy to say at the moment. There's not like a clear one. Like with the USDZAR, I was getting a lot of bearish signals on the currency pair, rand strengthening. But on this one, yes, fine, the RSI was bullish, but it was only slightly bullish. The MACD is trending down, but it's difficult to say because it's still above zero. And this pattern is still forming. So it's a bit of a wait and see position at the moment on Brent. And that wait and see is to see which one of these lines break first, resistance or support. Once that happens, then you can decide, okay, I'm going long or I'm going short. Okay, Brent. Then one more. I'm just going to look at gold and then I'll start moving towards the ones you want to have a look at. So gold, what's happening with gold? Gold, of course, is always seen as a hedge during difficult times. So that's why, again, Russia-Ukraine war, people went into gold because war is not always good for economies. So people bought gold to hedge against it. People also buying gold because it's seen as an inflation hedge, and we are currently in a high inflation environment, especially in the West. South Africa, our inflation is still kind of in the band. I think it was 5 point something, 5.7 if I remember correctly. Don't quote me on that, but it was somewhere around there. But what we're seeing is in countries like America and the UK, they're also seeing inflation of 5.7, and 5.7% inflation in those countries are extremely high. Before the pandemic, they were having inflation of like 1%, 2%. Some countries were even having negative deflationary numbers. Today, I saw in Spain, they had the inflationary number of like 9%. And for the developed world, that's exceptionally high inflation numbers. For the developing world, like South Africa, not really, we're used to it. Developed world, it's very, very, very high. So what do people do when inflation is high? They go into gold because gold has just always had this thing about it that it's inflation hedge. So people have been buying gold, but it has been coming off. Let's see what's happening. So it does look like it might be at support. Support could be area. Looks like a wide area though. This year. So what we're looking between 1,870 and 1,900. That $30 range seems to be an area of support and resistance, and gold is currently at that point. So if it's at support, a lot of people will think, well, maybe it's time to buy. But the MACD, again, trending down, it's saying, oh, the trend has changed. Not seeing a bearish divergence, which is usually what I would like to see, because as I showed you before, bearish divergence, good signal that the trend is in fact changing. You won't always get divergences before trends change though. So don't think just because there's no divergence, the trend won't change. But no divergence on gold is, however, trending down. Is above zero still though. Sorry about that. Okay, put the RSI back on. We'll put some other ones on as well. It is there, the green one, 50.74. So it is basically undecided. 50 is like, well, are we going long or short? It's above 50, but barely, like by 0.7. So the RSI is not really telling us much. Let's take a look at another one. Okay, the Ichimoku, for those who are not used to it. So this indicator kind of tells a lot. There's a lot of moving parts to it, or let's say that. So this red and green that you're seeing, those are known as the Kumo, or it's just, I think it's just Japanese for cloud. And this is your leading indicator. As you can see, it's moving ahead. It's your leading indicator. Then you have kind of like your short-term and medium-term moving averages. They're not exactly the same as a simple moving average. So usually, if let's put a simple moving average on here, just as an example. Okay, let's paint it one day. Let's make it, I don't know, 50 days. Okay, so there's your simple moving average. A 50-day simple moving average. Now, how a simple moving average works is it basically just takes your closing price for the past 50 days, adds them up, divide them by 50, and it gives you your value. These on the Ichimoku, they work a little bit differently. So your short-term one basically takes your last 9 candles. Let's just see if I can do the horizontal line. Okay, vertical line. So we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so there. So this blue one is your short-term one. It looks at the last 9 candles. And then it looks, okay, what was the highest high reached during this last 9 periods? And what was the lowest low reached during the last 9 periods? And then it just finds you the midpoint. So this blue line that you're seeing here, this might be a bit dark. Let's change the color. Okay, there. This yellow line is basically just the middle point of the highest high reached in the last 9 period and the lowest low reached in the last 9 periods. Same goes for the medium term, except this one looks at the past 26 days. So that's the highest high reached in the last 26 days and the lowest low reached in the last 26 days. The midpoint. So basically, so if we move this, let's say we create another candle tomorrow. This line moves on to the next one. The last highest high and the last lowest low is still the same. So this line will just stay in exactly the same period. So you can keep moving, moving, moving until eventually there. Oh, suddenly now the highs come down. And let's say a new low has not been created. Then this line will come down slightly. But that's basically how the moving averages work on these Ichimoku. Okay, and then finally you also have your lagging indicator. So your lagging indicator, basically, it just takes whatever the price is currently and it moves it back 26 days. And that's your lagging indicator. How this one works is, if it is above where price was 26 days ago, it's bullish. If it's below where price was 26 days ago, bearish. And if it's moving in between price, like it's doing here, that's kind of a signal that, oh, there's no direction. Clouds, if it's a green cloud, it's predicting bullish movements forward. Red cloud is predicting bearishness. Okay, so with that all explained, if we look at gold, at the moment, the cloud is predicting that gold will go up. But if we look here, the short-term moving average has dropped below the medium-term moving average. That is more bearish. At the moment, we are above where price was, but it's not going to be long. I mean, if it doesn't make a big move up soon, we're going to start moving in between the price, and then soon enough, we're going to be below. That's bearish. So gold at the moment is not really giving me any clear signal. Should I go long? Should I go short? It's the same. We looked at the RSI. It was basically at 50. I mean, it couldn't have been more of an undecided move. So again, it's a bit hard to say with gold. It's a wait and see. But okay, I'm going to start looking at yours, the ones you want to have a look at. ASML, someone must have a look at that, but that's offshore. I'll have a look at that when we go offshore. MTN. Okay, MTN, what are we seeing? Bullishness, if we look at the Ichimoku indicator. Short term is above, medium term, cloud is green, lagging indicator is above where price was. But how bullish? I mean, the cloud is a nice big fat cloud, so that's very bullish. But the gap is starting to close between short term and medium term moving average. And this line here, you can see here, it hasn't moved at all. Since when? Since 7th March. So basically that means in the last, so it came up, but the high and the low over the last 26 days have just been staying the same. So it hasn't moved. So this is a good example of showing you how this line It's the midpoint between the high and the low over the past 26 days. So no new highs or lows have been created on MTN in the last 26 days. So this line has just been staying flat. That kind of tells you, okay, so for the last 26 days, MTN has not really been having a lot of movement. And we can also actually do this. This again. This is known as a descending triangle. Okay, so descending triangle, we looked at that triangle before. There's a descending one. It's kind of the same thing. It's kind of to see which one breaks first, the resistance or the support. And that will tell you which direction to take. So the fact that MTN at the moment has been flat, this line, this medium-term moving average, no new highs have been created in the last 26 days. And we don't yet know which one of these has broken. MTN looks kind of like okay, maybe a wait and see. Let's see what happens. It is predicting bullish future on the Kumo, the cloud. Lagging indicator is indeed above. So there are some bullish signs there. Short-term moving average is above medium-term moving average. Bullish sign. But the question is, which one will break? If it breaks above resistance, that can kind of be like your confirmation. Okay. And when I say break, I mean close. Like you can see here. Here it broke above it, but it came right back down every time. It didn't close above it. So let's rather say if it closes above resistance, then you can see that as your confirmation. Okay, yes, this is bullish. Okay. But someone wants to have a look at Vodacom. Vodacom, very bullish, way more bullish than MTN. This cloud is very big. Look at your short-term moving average, way, way, way above your medium-term moving average. This one has also been flat, but not for as long as on MTN. And your lagging indicator way above price where it was 26 days ago. So Vodacom seems to have a bit more movement. And it's definitely looking more bullish. But let's just check something quickly. That's a bit more worrisome on Vodacom. There is a good example of a massive divergence. You take this arrow. I mean, Vodacom has just been going up so much, but yet, what are we seeing on the MACD? It's pretty much been slowly but surely trending down. So that is a big, big, big bearish average, divergence. So that's something to take into account. And you can also see it looks like Vodacom, even though we're getting all these bullish signals, does look like it's lost a bit of steam. It's not trending up so much amount. So we might, in fact, see a change in trend in Vodacom if we go by the divergence. So, yeah, just the fact it did look very bullish until I pulled up the MACD and suddenly I thought, well, maybe it's not so bullish anymore. In fact, maybe it might turn bearish very, very soon. Okay, sorry if I'm going through this a bit quickly, but there's like a lot of trades in the chat people want to have a look at. Okay, Naspers. Yeah, Naspers have not been performing pretty well. I mean, it's just been having so many issues with Tencent in China. And of course, Naspers gets a lot of its value from Tencent. Well, now Process owns Tencent, but via Process, Naspers still gets a lot of its value from Tencent. Tencent has not been doing well in China with all the regulation and the crackdown on the tech firms there. So I'm not too surprised to see like this red cloud, this bearishness. Short-term moving average is below medium term. but I mean, they seem to be closing the gap. The lagging indicator is well below price, so I mean that's also bearish. MACD is turning up, so that is, I mean, a slight bullish signal, but I mean most of these signals are bearish. If we zoom out, like I mean there we broke through support. I mean, we can see if we zoom out even more, if we can find some support resistance somewhere. No, I mean, it's just bearish. 1,500, maybe there's a slight support there, but there's not really much to go on there at the moment. I mean, most of the signals on Naspers are bearish. It's not really much to go on. Just tell you, it is trending up, so that's okay. I mean, you might even say there's a slight bullish divergence there, because it is trending up, even though it was reaching the same kind of levels. So if it was trading the same levels, you would have expected the MACD to be at the same level, but actually it's making higher. So maybe that is a small little bullish signal on Naspers. The fact that MACD is trading up and it's a bullish divergence. But apart from that, it's looking bearish on other signals, and it's difficult to find support and resistance. Okay, City Lodge. Sorry about that. Okay, City Lodge. What are we seeing here? So it was bullish before, but now it has gone bearish. One thing you have to note is these borders of the clouds, they can act as support and resistance. They're like dynamic support and resistance if you want. So City Lodge is at resistance at the moment, not really much happening on the MACD. Put on the RSI. RSI just went bullish. It just went above 50. So that is bullish. Your short-term moving average has just gone above your medium-term moving average. That's bullish. Your lagging indicator is kind of moving in between price, which means doesn't really have direction at the moment, which is the same thing we saw on the MACD. The MACD was pretty much flat. They don't really give us much direction, much of a trend. It did go bullish, so probably what I would wait is to see does it close above this little green cloud. If you manage to get a close above the green cloud, then it could be a possible long trade. Likewise, if it just goes up, well, go above, but it closes below, and then it closes below the cloud, then it can very easily go bearish again. Because I mean, it's not going to take much for City Lodge to go from 52 to below 50 again. I mean, that 2 points, it's not going to make much of a difference. Same with this moving average. I mean, it's just above the medium-term moving average. It's not going to take much to go right back down again. So yeah, City Lodge, definitely wait and see what happens. Where does it close? Does it close above the cloud, or does it close below the cloud? And then you can decide which direction you would like to take. Okay. Standard Bank. So Standard Bank, shouldn't be surprised to see it strengthening. If you look at South African banks, they're very highly correlated with the performance of the USDZAR, Rand strength. If the Rand strengthens, you tend to see South African banks strengthening. And that's exactly what we've seen with Standard Bank. Rand strengthened. Well, guess what? Standard Bank share price strengthened. Interesting to note, though, it has just gone overbought. So that is bearish. If it goes overbought, it's at the point where the indicator is telling you, okay, the stock is getting a bit expensive. People holding it, traders,